You just start with that.
Come on now. Mike at night.
Our news, our business.
Hey, if you're here at nighttime,
Then you're here at the right time.
we all about that love
Support.
and protection. You see it on your chest?
Then you might feel it in your heart.
Hey, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here today. We always do this. We always talk to you guys. We always show you guys the love, support, and protect. And we always want to let you also know that we appreciate all that you guys do for us. You guys have showed us love in some major ways, and we want you to know that the love that you show us doesn't go unrecognized. So we do appreciate you in that manner. Today we had some things. I had some things that I wanted to get to before we even got to the school to prison pipeline, and that is some exciting news that we have for our community. I don't know if you guys, or I don't even know if you are familiar with the Montbello Organization Committee.
Not fill us in, brother.
Okay, well, Denver City Council has allotted $19 million for the Montbello Fresh Low project. Now, what this project entails is they will be building a 7-story building right at the Montbello parking lot where it was. They will be building a Montbello parking lot. This should be a 97-room, 1 to 3 bedroom housing facility that has a 2-level supermarket inside of it as well. A 2-level grocery store, and it will be built by and for the Montbello residents, those making anywhere from 60% of, below the average.
I actually am familiar now that you put it like that with that with that thing. What it is 60% of the units will be affordable housing units, meaning that it's not strictly Section 8 or government sanctioned, for instance, but it'll be according to your income. So that's how you will pay a certain percentage of your income, and that's 60% of those units over there. So that's a good thing for the Montbello community. Anytime we can get anything that empowers us, anything that's for us and by us in our community is most definitely a good thing. So looking forward to that project jumping off, which I think they said they'll break ground at the end of this year or early next year.
Well, they're saying January right now.
Okay, so early next year. So so look forward to a new 7-story building in the Montbello community, you all. That does, like my man said, entail 2 levels of grocery stores. Many of them, the vegetables and whatnot, will be freshly resourced and actually from our state. So good thing for Montbello.
Yes, I also want to say thanks and big ups to Donna Garrett, the executive director of the Montbello Organization Community. We thank you for all the hard work that you have done. I met with some people from this committee not too long ago in recent history, and I'm really excited to see this get off the ground. So we appreciate you all for your help and your commitment to our community as well.
Most definitely. One more thing on that. Let me go back and kind of reiterate what my man just said. They expect to hire people that live in the 80239 zip code for the construction of this project. So know that there will be a lot of jobs that will be coming to Montbello also. So you guys be looking out for that. You probably, I believe you can get your applications in now, and they have interest in hiring people mainly from this community. So another plus for us.
And there is something that you want to get to on that. Do you want to do that now, or you want to take a break real quick and then get to it?
I mean, we can get into it right now.
Go ahead.
So what I want to talk about, and just the other day, we've had these conversations over the years, but now I'm starting to feel like it can really become a thing for us to follow, and that is this. So we know that within the Montbello community, that most of the businesses do not hire people that are actually from the community. And I want to talk about some of the Africans that run the stores, some of the brown and Latino people who run their restaurants. Well, we do know that we don't have a lot of business ventures here in Montbello as a black community. So the thing is this, and I know that you all heard this. So do we really want to give our money and our resources to places that won't hire us? I think that that's a huge issue in our community. And I think that if we did allot our money to others who were like us and others who were willing to hire us, that we'd have a higher status quo within this community and actually the ability to start to build our own stuff. Now, I know that we don't have enough stuff right now to whereas you can just make a conscious decision and say, well, since they don't employ black people, I can't shop there. Because right now, where are you going to get your Mexican food? Where are you going to get your tall can or your Rillos or whatever it is that you might need? Because we know that they don't, well, they might hire black people. They're only black in skin tone. Culturally, they're not American blacks. And they continue not to hire us. So let me give you an example. So I went to a store the other day and I asked this gentleman, I said, hey, do you all hire African Americans? And he says, yes. Well, you never see this guy, but he works in the back all the time. And he's from Uganda. And I had to say, whoa, hold up. You know, you're not understanding what I'm saying. I said, do you hire black Americans like myself who come from the continent of North America, not Africa, whose English is their first language? And the gentleman said that he had no issue hiring black African Americans from our community. In fact, he went into his phone and reminded me of a young African American lady that in fact did used to work there. And my point of telling you this story is this. We need to really consider, and I'm not trying to do a boycott right now because we got to get more stuff going within our own community first. But we might want to consider spending less dollars with these people who refuse to hire us. Some people will say don't spend any money there at all. But just due to the lack of alternative choices, it seems that a lot of people aren't willing to make that step just yet. But it most definitely is a problem that we continue to empower the people who refuse to empower us in our own community.
And just to add on or piggyback to what he's saying, when it comes to the money that is spent within our community, the money that we actually earn, it doesn't stay within our community long enough. It stays, you know, it's almost a blink of an eye how long the black dollar stays in the black community, because we go to other venues to spend our well-earned black dollar. So I just want you all to keep that in mind, and we're collectively saying, if at all possible, if you can avoid spending money where you don't see blacks or African Americans represented, it would be much.
We just wanted to make that little public service announcement right quick before we got started. You want to hit them with some music, give them a chance to tap back in?
Hey, most definitely. You know, we always got to do that music thing, and we know that, you know, we love music. So we try to keep you guys in here and engaged. So thank you for being here once again, and just give us a second, we'll get with you.
Let go. Here for the cases like the red box, and everything be Gucci to the feds now. Got the rap game in a headlock, and I'm trying to make classic moves like a leg drop. Boom, off top like a guillotine. Speeches mean, and I deem anything you.
Hey, Ronell, we feel you, my brother.
Appreciate you, Ronell.
And appreciate your black business. We definitely need to have you in here and plug some of what you're doing in the community as well, because we do appreciate you, Ronell.
No doubt. Having said that, let me get a shout out to Ron and Zoe, a food truck.
And there was another young lady that had talked to me, someone by the name of Lakeisha.
Unless they get the spark and then we ain't
Oh man, Lakeisha Humphrey. She's actually doing chicken dinners and doing all sorts of things, and she is delivering as well. So just wanted to make sure that you guys plug in with her. She's on Facebook. Hey, what's up, Andy? Thank you for joining us today. Appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit your sister tag and share the video. Hey, again, her name is Lakeisha Humphreys, and if you want to hit her up on Facebook, she has some of the displays of the food that she does, and she will actually deliver them chicken wings. She said next month she's doing chicken gizzards. So y'all make sure y'all get in there with her.
Absolutely.
Want to get started?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Hey, man. Today we want to discuss some of the dilemmas facing the African American community when it comes to the school to prison pipeline. Basically, what that means is outside of the private sector, which are the private schools, we have a public school to prison pipeline, in which, and I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but a lot of the prisons are built based on third grade test scores. So there's obviously a breakdown in what the children are learning and why they are not graduating at a high rate and continuing on to college. And they seem to be going to prison at an alarming rate. Now, of course, as we always do here, we give you some facts, we give you some figures, we give you some statistics, and we give you some numbers. So my guy right here, he's going to jump right in this, and he's going to let you know what that looks like mathematically in our neighborhood.
No doubt, no doubt. So,
oh, hold on. Let's just stop real quick.
Okay.
Indy said she just graduated with my criminal justice degree and worked on opening a school to teach juvenile delinquents financial literacy and management of emotions. You know what, Indy? That's a big thing. And I don't want to get too far off into that, but I appreciate that. Congratulations, first of all, for you graduating with that criminal justice degree, because that does our community a lot of good as well.
Right.
On that note, I do want to say this, that one thing that we do need to teach in schools and that we have never taught is some of these laws and how these laws focus on putting us in prison and what we can do to make sure that we are not going to prison by recognizing the laws and the impact that they can have on our lives as African Americans.
Right.
Because a lot of times they're teaching us how to conduct ourselves and our lives as Anglo-Saxon Americans, but they don't give us some of the sneaky little details, that small print, when it comes to being an African American and how we should conduct ourselves in today's society. My man Woke Up Getting, thank you for joining us today, brother. It's been a long time since we've seen you in here, but we appreciate you here, and we thank you very much for showing that love, support, and protect.
Most definitely. And it's interesting that, I'm sorry, who is this person?
Andy
would say that, because we definitely, we know that it's not really been a thing where at least in the black community, where we were taught financial literacy. So something like that is of major importance in our community. And it's real interesting that you also said, talking about management of emotions. When we talk about management of emotions,
we talk about the emotional
children,
quotient on here a lot.
Right, because as it pertains to children with incarcerated parents, well, those children are 51% more likely to suffer from anxiety. So there's a need right there for emotional management. 43% more likely to suffer from ADD. 48% more likely to suffer from depression. And here's an alarming stat right here. Children of incarcerated parents are 72% more likely to experience PTSD as opposed to their counterparts of children of unincarcerated parents. And we also
say that one more time, brother.
That last statistic, that children with incarcerated parents are 72% more likely to experience PTSD. That's an astounding number right there that needs full consideration when we talk about how we're going to move forward in our community as it pertains to the disparities in education as it relates to black people. And also, another interesting little statistic that I had here, is that black children ages 12 to 17. Black children ages 12 to 17.
Pay attention to this, you guys. Black children ages 12 to 17
have a 1 out of 7 chance of having had a parent incarcerated. So black children 12 to 17, which we know are the primary years of education, it's where we kind of decide what we're going to do moving forward in life. But for many of those children, in fact, 1 out of 7 of them
will
have a parent who is incarcerated. So,
right.
And when we get to doing the math on that, that's an astounding number of black children. And there's many factors that lead to that, right? Okay. As we also know, or we don't actually know this, but I'm about to tell you all. So we know that most of the incarcerated black and brown men are in fact men, but 80% of all black and brown incarcerated women are mothers. So 8 out of 10 incarcerated women that you see in jail, if they're black, or if they're Latina, they're likely a mother as well, and this could have astounding effects on their children as it pertains to education, as it pertains to their mental well-being, as it pertains to their health in general.
And now let's look at this real quick, because this is some of the issue that we faced inside of our community. And a lot of people don't know this or not aware of this fact, but up until the 1970s, we had trade schools within our high schools. So we were able to learn a trade prior to graduating from high school, which means that if you know what a lot of our older relatives, uncles, aunts, grandfathers, grandmothers, what they did back in those days, where they were able to secure a trade prior to leaving high school, which means they were our carpenters, they were our electricians, they were our auto mechanics, they were our plumbers prior to leaving high school. Now, mind you, that's prior to leaving high school. Now, let's keep this in mind. If we are able to do that prior to leaving high school, what are the chances that we would then need a professional degree?
Right.
We may not need a professional degree at that point in time. Or if we decided to get that professional degree, we wouldn't have to be $60,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in school debt, because we would have a way to earn a living prior to investing that money into a professional education.
Right.
And I want to say this now because we have a lot of graduates out here. We want to be really careful when it comes to securing these professional degrees, because at the age of 18, 19, 20, we're getting these loans. And let me tell you something, kids, these loans will not leave your credit report unless they are paid off, or until they are paid off. Now, you are able to get deferments on some of these loans, but this is coming from someone who has seen both worlds and understands the way that both worlds work. Be careful when signing these loans and getting these loans for these schools if you haven't applied for grants or you don't have any type of scholarship. Because what can happen is you can find yourself $60,000 in debt at 21, 22, 23, and you're out there looking for a job.
Right.
And it's very difficult to pay this money back over, while you're trying to get established as an adult.
And it will most certainly follow you into adulthood. According to the Institute of Education, the average bachelor degree is going to run you about $127,000, right? And we're not even talking about the 4 to 5% interest that they're going to throw on that. So when we really do the math, it's even much higher than that. As opposed to a vocational school, where you don't have to attend the full 4 years. You can get a degree or a certificate between 8 months and 2 years. Well, compare that to somebody who just did a 4-year college, right? Not only are you learning on the job, right? So you're automatically ahead of those people, and then you have a 2-year jump on actual earning the income that they would have. So by the time that they get their college degree, you're already 2 years into your job. So particularly as it pertains to our community in the Northeast Denver area, I really think that vocational school or technical school might be the way to go for us, because most of us are not born with silver spoons in our mouths, and we're not receiving all this back support from our parents or grandparents, or just the generational wealth that exists. While a vocational school can help you to create generational wealth.
And you got to understand too that once you do that vocation, now, mind you, I have attended 4 trade schools. I have completed 2 of those trade schools. Also, I have earned 4 professional degrees. So I have a couple of associate's degrees, bachelor's degree, and my master's in business administration. So I speak as someone who actually knows what I'm talking about. Right. Please tag and share this video if you know some youngsters that need to hear this right now, because a lot of them may be going into their educational venture blind and not know, because they're looking around and thinking that this is the right and the cool thing to do. But while they're looking around, they're going to look up and see that there's $60,000 to $70,000 and upwards of even $120,000 or $130,000 in debt. And it's very difficult to get out of that when you don't have a raw skill. Now, the reason why we're talking about the vocational schools or the trade schools is because this gives you a raw skill. Meaning this, if I have a degree in anthropology, I can't help my neighbor out with the degree in anthropology. The guy down the street is not going to pay me to learn about where some ancient, and where bones were found back in the day. But he will pay me to fix his leaky faucets or his clogged toilet or his car that needs a new engine in it. He will pay me for those things. Now, I'm not trying to dumb down the ideal of us being professionals and conducting ourselves and trying to find a more lucrative lifestyle. But what I'm saying is that these raw skills can help you to earn that professional degree. But sometimes we have to crawl before we walk.
Right.
So sometimes young people, I want to say this to you, try to keep these things in perspective, because I don't want to see you all deep in debt, deep in credit card debt, college debt, and not being able to make a living for yourself because you have accumulated all of this school debt.
Right, and like my man was saying earlier, as it pertains to the educational attainment and the bias that goes into some of these tests that they give our people before they even accept us into colleges. Well, guess what? At a vocational school, there's no SAT or ACT needed, right? And also, keep this in mind too, 40%, a staggering 40% of all students who enroll into a 4-year college end up dropping out anyway. Well, just because you drop out doesn't mean that that debt isn't there. You still haven't incurred a debt that you're going to have to pay off for something that you will have no use for because you're not going to get a degree in that.
I know several people that didn't, and sorry to interrupt you, my brother, but I know several people that weren't able to continue or finish their 4-year degree and did not learn a skill. Black people, let me get this message to you loud and clear. We need to procure a skill, whatever that skill may be, whether it be cosmetology, whatever it is that you think that you can do and do well. You might want to learn that first before going on and getting a professional degree. I have a daughter right now. I told her to get her broker's license and also a real estate license by the time she turned 18, and she's working hard at that. So I'm telling you right now, these are some things that you can do to make sure that you can provide for yourself and keep yourself out of debt. Renee Cooper says raw skills provide you a foundation. Use the skills as a stair step to get to your long-term goal, and she is absolutely correct. Thank you, Ms. Cooper, for sharing that with us. She's absolutely correct. A lot of us think because we look around and we want to try to conduct ourselves as Anglo-Saxons when we don't live in an Anglo-Saxon world. We try to conduct ourselves as Anglo-Saxons when we live in an African-American world.
Right.
We're not going to experience the same things as they experience. And let me get to this little name thing real quick. When you go to apply for some of these jobs and they see some of our names, our ethnic names, let me let you guys know something. They do discriminate on us. They do discriminate based on that. Okay? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what we name our children. I got children, relatives, friends, family members with ethnic names as well.
Right.
But what I'm saying is this, that you want to be careful with that because they will discriminate against you.
Right.
Just because you have that 4-year degree doesn't mean that they're going to blow the doors open and hire you right out the gate. You're going to be facing a lot of competition with your same credentials, educational credentials. But this is the thing. This is where a vocation or vocational school or trade school beats that. If you know how to cut hair, if you know how to cook food, if you know how to fix a car, if you know how to fix a diesel, all of these things right here are things that they cannot take from you. This is something that you've learned if you know how to fix computers. Mm-hmm. All of these things right here are things that you can do when times are hard, when you can't find a job, when they're not hiring. You can say, hold on. Let me get in here real quick. And let me help fix your car for you.
Right.
The neighbor's having a problem with his car. Let me get in there and fix this car. The neighbor's having a problem with his plumbing. Let me do that for you. All of these things can help.
And they can make you a lot of money. I don't know about you, but anytime I've called a plumber, anytime I've needed an electrician, anytime I've needed some concrete poured, any of those things, those skills are attainable at vocational skills. And every time that they come, it's a steep bill. It's never cheap to get these services done, right? So you can actually earn a really good living off of that. Most definitely, right?
And I can tell you right now, I spent countless amounts of money on neighborhood mechanics.
For sure. And I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is a fact, college graduates are more likely to be unemployed. Now, that doesn't say, the study also suggests that four-year college graduates have a higher average income than their peers, but when you count the amount of money that it's going to take for them to get the degree, the amount of time that it takes to get the degree, it really kind of averages out. And like I said, when you're in vocational school, sometimes they even hire you while you're in school. So by the time you actually get that degree, you're ready to rock and roll, and you have a large pool of people who want to hire you. Now, you may go to a hospital and they may only have 2 head surgeons. But during the construction of that hospital building, they might have needed 20 plumbers. They might have needed 30 electricians.
Exactly.
They might have needed 250 construction workers, right?
Exactly.
So there's a big gap between how much you're needed with these vocational skills as opposed to just having a college degree, right?
And let me tell you guys something else real quick. I understand that right now a lot of you young people are being pressured into going to school and going to a 4-year college because it seems like the quote-unquote American way, and it seems like the right thing to do at the time. But I need to give you guys reasons for caution, and that is that you can get yourself in a lot of debt. And I know that you're going to say, well, that won't be me because I have this pie in the sky idea that if you are starting college and you don't know what it is that you want to do, and you haven't shopped the market to find out if that is actually even needed, and if the job field is not saturated, then guess what? If you're going to go get a degree in English, then you're probably going to end up being an English teacher. And you're probably going to be...
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, but this is the thing. You're probably not going to be able to find a high-paying job. And when I say high-paying, I'm talking, 7 to 6 figures. It's going to be very hard to find that upper 7-figure to 6-figure job with just that English degree. You're going to have to put a little bit of stank on it, if you understand what I'm saying.
Most definitely. I'm of the mind that a formal education will earn you a living, but self-education can earn you a fortune, right?
Adam Spears says, unless you're going to school for something very specific, it's a waste of time and money. Go ahead.
Okay, there's a lot of people who do feel that way, Adam, and in a lot of cases they are correct. And there are success stories. Now, we're not advocating that you should not go to a 4-year university, but I'm saying that in today's climate and economy, in order to get a quicker head start, you may want to consider vocational school. Because first of all, if there is any type of, if they're not providing grants, they'll give you an opportunity to pay that back while you're in school. So it's just so much easier. And like I said, again, you don't have to be doing well in high school to attend a vocational school. You don't have to pass any sort of ACT or SAT test. So the opportunity to get into one of these schools, they're not state run, they're not federally run, they're usually private type of schools, right? And so they have a lot more wiggle room for you, and there's a lot more professions that could require you to use these vocational skills as opposed to going to a 4-year university.
Keep in mind, America, you guys, is a business. Keep in mind that America is a business. This isn't a place where we all love each other, take care of each other, and are willing to take care of each other. Les Brown said that the country is set up not so that the more proficient won't excel, but so that those that aren't very proficient don't fail. So keep in mind that our system is set up so that it can make money. That's the bottom line. And when you look at some of these universities, I mean, I went to school like I said, I have 4 degrees to include a graduate degree. So I understand the dynamic of what works and what doesn't work and how we get along in college and in higher learning. Some of these people out here that are watching the show or listening to the show will attest to this. You know what? You'll take a class. In this class, they'll say that this book is required for this specific class. Mm-hmm. Well, you go and try to use the book from last semester or last year, that book's not going to work. You're going to need the current edition of that book, and all they've really done was gone into the book and changed up some of the chapters and switched up some things and probably added a paragraph or two. But you know what? These books, they will charge you upwards to $200, $300, $400, $500 for some of these books that you will never get your money back. And when you go to try to sell them again, you'll probably get pennies on the dollar for these books.
Because they're outdated.
Because they're outdated. And this is a business. This is a hustle. This is a system. You have to use this system to work to your own benefit. And if you don't, you're going to find yourself lost and behind the curve when it comes to this business. Keep in mind, America's a business. So it was set up to make money. This educational system, when we talk about and Indy Gohard talked about this earlier, when we're talking about the school to prison pipeline, guess what else is a business? Prison is a business. They're making money off of prisoners right now. So do you think, as an African American, and us being low on the totem pole in this country, that they're going to tell us everything that we need to know while we're being educated in school to get out and to get ahead? No, they are not. They're going to get us to buy into an idea that is not going to work for us.
Right, because even if you were a poor earner, let's say for instance, you didn't make a lot of money anyway, once you go to prison, that prison will receive more money for you being at their institution than if you were out free, really not doing too much. So that just comes to tell you right there that they have incentive to lock you up on top of all that, right? So we want to keep all that in mind when we think about our future, particularly if we have kids who are in middle school and high school. These are some of the decisions that they will be facing very soon. So make sure that they do that research.
And
make sure. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. And your educational level is directly related to whether or not it is likely that you will end up in prison. Let me say this. There are things that you need to learn as a black woman, as a black man, to make sure that you're not going to live in poverty. Mm-hmm. There are things that you need to know prior to leaving high school, middle school, even elementary school, that you need to know when you're going out into this world. And I'm talking to my brown and my black people, because there are certain things that they don't tell us. They don't tell us about, they don't indoctrinate, they don't inculcate our community from elementary to high school about the prison system, about the legal system, about the way the laws work, about if you have a gun and some weed together that you can get, some time for some being an aggravated drug dealer or some type of pariah. They don't tell you these things. So a lot of our brothers and sisters, when we get out and we get arrested for certain, they don't tell you that throwing a cell phone at the wall, you can get charged with domestic violence
and kidnapping.
They don't tell you these type of things. So once this happens to you because you've been ignorant and haven't learned these things and haven't taught yourself these things, once you get out of school and these things happen, guess what happens? Guess what happens?
Indy says they get paid up to $50K per head in the prison system. That's actually correct.
And that's more than they're willing to pay you.
Right, because the average black man only earns $42,000 per year. So they actually get paid very handsomely to have you caught up in that system. And once you get caught up in that system, here's the thing about your children. There is a very high chance that they will also end up incarcerated as well. And we look at the numbers, and they're all conducive to say that having a parent incarcerated not only affects your children's well-being and mental health and financial health, but it also affects their freedom as well. So we want to be very careful, and I understand some of us maybe have been locked up, and actually 1 out of 7 of us have been locked up. So we want to think about the implications that this has on our children as well. Does it mean that it's too late for your children? No. But what it does mean is that you take responsibility and accountability for whatever it is you did, move forward, and listen, I ain't just talking to kids either. I'm talking to grown folks too. It's not too late to get an education. It's not too late to learn a vocational skill. If you do that, your parents or your children will be more inclined and more likely to do so also. So just know that whatever it is that you're on, the chances of your kids repeating that have a very, very high chance. So if you're doing good, they'll probably do good. If you're doing bad, they'll probably do bad also. But it's never too late. Keep that in mind also.
Okay, Indy says she loves this topic, and guess what,
Right.
Indy? You got into this field. You learned it, so you earned it. You got the degree, and you got the proof. Vanessa, you hit on a very important point as well. A lot of this stuff we do learn after we didn't already went too far and knocked ourselves in the heads.
Right.
We learned that from the Hood Academy. You know, well, like, hold on, my brother, don't you know that if you do this, if you carry an unregistered weapon, if you do this, if you throw the phone at the wall, see some of this stuff, you don't know, and these schools don't teach you. And you know what that does? It makes it definite that once our children don't finish high school for whatever reason, because either they're bored, not interested, or following the path of their parents, that they're going to end up in the same situation. And when I say the same situation, living below the poverty level, living at the poverty level,
Committing crimes,
dropping out of school, going back and forth, being unwed mothers for our young black sisters out there. When they don't listen and understand what it means and what a real man actually is, and I don't even want to get all the way into that because we do that on a lot of these shows, but let me say this. When our sisters don't know what a real man is and what a real man looks like and what a real man is supposed to, how he is supposed to conduct themselves, they are also at a disadvantage, because now you find themselves with multiple children, and guess what? Little flip-flop don't want to take care of them.
Exactly. Because,
and why? Because
little flip-flop has never seen what a real man looks like and what a real man does. So that's why it's very important to, before you have kids, actually we know that we should probably get married first just for the benefit of the child. We know that children of two-parent homes have a much increased chance of having a better life, so to speak.
And this impedes the process of the prison to school pipeline. When we have a mother and father in the home, it impedes that process, because now these children are more likely to succeed not only in education but in their finances because they have both present.
Right. So we are a product of who we teach and who we live around. So we have to be very mindful of what we're doing ourselves and the examples that we're setting as it pertains to our children out here, because they're watching everything that we do, and the cycle, we don't want bad cycles to continue. We want cycles to be broken. We want negative cycles to be broken within our community. And once we can get to a place to where we can do that, and I know some of us have already done that. I know some of us come from parents who had us when we were 15, 16 years old. Well, they were. I said had us when they were 15, 16 years old. Well, that doesn't mean that we have to have children when we're 15 and 16 years old. They obviously didn't make a lot of good choices at that time, and they're probably not with that person that they had that child with, right? So when we make decisions like choosing to marry before having children, choosing to stay together, choosing to work on solutions while we're involved in the relationship as it pertains to the children, then we give them the greatest chance to succeed. And I know most people, at least all people, should want their children to do better than they did themselves.
And just wrapping up, we want to let you guys know this. What we kind of wanted to drag home and to beat home with our youngsters out here. And like we said, if you got some youngsters that you feel could benefit from this video or just this talk, make sure you tag and share the video. Now, we're by no means experts on this topic. Matter of fact, I believe, Indy Gohar with her criminal law degree right now would definitely be more of an educated person to speak to this topic. But we're speaking as far as a visual and a social aspect goes and what we see go on. There are truck drivers out here that are making $120,000 a year.
6 figures.
6 figures. Truck drivers.
How long do you
guys.
have to go to school for that, bro?
Truck driver may have to go to school for about a month,
Oh my goodness.
a month and a half.
Did y'all hear that, young people? Did y'all hear that? Even older people. Did y'all hear what that man just said? You can go to school for maybe up to a month, get your CDL license, be on the road in no time, and making 6 figures per year.
That's quite possible. Now, I don't want to spin a story to make it not make sense. Now, when you're coming the door, you're probably going to be earning somewhere around 50 to 60, maybe upwards of 70,000. But depending on if you know how you run, if you're driving well and your driving history is well, you haven't been in any accidents and stuff like that, and you're maintaining good logs and all that, you haven't got any tickets, man, you can make upwards of 100, 120,
Right.
130,000. I've even seen some making as much as $300,000 a year
No doubt.
driving trucks. Matter of fact, there have been lawyers, I've seen it with my own eyes, that have quit their practice to drive trucks. Now, what does that tell you?
They spent all that time in school
In
at a
today's
major
economy.
university, right?
In today's economy, what is that telling you? This is a hustle, you guys. And I'm not saying that school is a hustle and school isn't a hustle. If you have a goal, it's not a hustle. But if you don't have no goal and you're just there wasting time and money, it's a hustle because they're beating you right now. Vanessa Adams, I have met a family where 4 generations have been in foster care. It will never stop until people choose to make a difference. You are absolutely right, and we thank you for that comment. And we have seen it. We've seen it. And we've seen people graduate college, become professional students. And I knew someone who had a bachelor's degree working at Taco Bell.
Right. So just because you get that degree, listen, we're not shunning people who who take the time and spend the money necessary to get these degrees, but just remember what we were saying about having to pay this stuff back. So even if you get out with your degree and you do get a good job, then you still could be greatly in debt. So this is just a quicker way to get off of the jumping pad, so to speak, to have a successful career as it pertains to having employment. And like I was telling you all earlier in the show, people with college degrees are more likely to be unemployed. And the reason that is because there's going to be a need for far more mechanics, far more hairstylists, far more plumbers,
truck drivers,
all that, truck drivers. Because listen, these aren't going anywhere. But
they're the foundation of the
foundation
world we live in.
Absolutely. So just know that just because you have a degree to be a heart surgeon doesn't mean that you won't be a heart surgeon. It just means that you have to put a whole lot of time, more money, and effort into that. Whereas with a vocational degree, like you said, you may start off at 50, 60 per year. And when you're doing your research on what you want to do, see what room that field has to grow also.
You know what, them BSs and them BAs and them PhDs, they look good in business cards, you guys, but they don't always look good in bank accounts.
Right.
You need something that's going to look good in a bank account and not on a business card.
And 50, 60,000 per year, that puts you on the upper echelon of black earners right there. When I just said that the average black man only earns 42,000 per year, I won't say only, but 50 to 60,000, that's a significant difference with the ability to grow.
Well, hey, we appreciate you guys for being here with us today. Again, if you know someone, and thank you, Ms. Spears, for saying that there's a great point. This is something we definitely need to explore in our community. This is my number one thing that I want to say to you guys without putting anything else into it. Do all you can when you're from 17 to 21. Do everything you can to build your future and stay out of debt. Stay out of debt. Debt is the devil. It will drag you down. And guess what? The lack of income breeds criminal activity. Most people would not engage in criminal activity if their finances were straight.
Absolutely. Good point. Good point.
Exactly. So you need to make sure that you stay out of debt, because when you can stay out of debt, you can stay out of jail and stay out of any type of criminal activity, and that's what the black community needs more than anything right now. So like I said, I know you guys know some youngsters out here that's wasting their time, and you know what? Lil Flip Flop dropped out of high school, so now he's worthless. He ain't nobody, but his brother's going to college. You know what? Little Flip Flop can be making more money than his brother, while his brother's going to college right now on that 4-year degree. If Little Flip Flop just goes and gets his CDL, he could be making $100,000 paying his brother and helping him get out of his debt because he just got in $130,000 worth of professional school debt. So you guys, it's come from the horse's mouth. I'm telling you guys right now, be careful and don't get in debt. Don't let these people put something on your credit report that you cannot get off and you can't get from up under. Because I'm guaranteeing you right now, if these cats was teaching you everything you needed to know with this $130,000 education, you wouldn't graduate looking for a job. You'd be starting companies and running businesses. You wouldn't be filling out no applications. You wouldn't need to fill out an application because if you got a business degree, let me ask you this question. Why are you looking for a job? You should be starting a business. If you got a business degree, why are you asking somebody to hire you? If you got a degree in English, then why aren't you opening up a school and teaching people English? Why are you looking for a job? You shouldn't be looking for a job after college. You should be starting a business. You should be finding a way to pay that back, not being a middleman so someone else can make more money off of you. Because if you get out of school with that graduate degree, with that professional degree, you're going to look for a job. And guess what you're doing at that job? Helping somebody else pay off their debt while you're struggling to pay your own.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we appreciate you guys for coming here and spending some time with us today. We always try to give you guys the cold, hard facts on the Mike and Mike at Night show. And why? Because it's our news and what?
It's our business.
So we're here to do what? We're here to love,
support,
and protect. And today we want to give you guys just a little nugget of information that we feel could help out our black community. Remember, we also want you to tag and share that video. And also, Lakeisha Humphreys got to find her on Facebook. She got the chicken wings and all that.
And same thing with Ron and Zoe's. You can go on Facebook, Ronell Albright, Ron and Zoe's Food Truck. You can just go on Facebook and find them, brothers.
Jabbo's Barbecue.
Jabbo's.
Yeah, we need to continue to shoot out our black business.
Mailbox Express.
Oh, right here in Montbello. Yeah, we need to
Montbello.
shoot out more of our black-owned businesses. And you guys, when you get in here and commenting, put in some of these black-owned businesses so some of our brothers and sisters out here know what we can do and where we can go to find some of these resources that we need.
No doubt.
And Indy, you were definitely right. We need some of that financial literacy. So we appreciate you guys for my fault, Brother Johnson. We tagged you. If you go back through the comments, we put you in there and we tried to tag you in there. He gonna be on my hat now. Oh, and Mr. Johnson, also happy birthday to you, my brother.
Happy birthday, bro.
Hey, happy belated. Man, listen, we got so much going on here. We try to tag as many people we can right here. But we're gonna get back in here. Next time, I promise you, if I have to call you myself, Mr. Johnson, and let you know that we on air, I will do that. My apologies. Please excuse me, my co-host. I'll let him know as well so we can make sure that you don't miss the show because we know that you enjoy this as well, and I know that this does a lot for our community.
Don't forget to tag and share. Also, subscribe so you can receive notifications.
Yes, listen, if there's anyone that you need to forgive, please do that right now because life is too short. And if there's anything that you need to apologize for, you know you done messed up and you know you done did something wrong to somebody, go back and apologize for it. Life is too short. And you know what? We love our people. We need to build our community instead of tearing it down. So we thank you guys for being with us today on the Mike and Mike at Night show, all about that love, support, and protect. Do you want to plug your other show or do you want to wait to do that?
We're gonna wait on that.
Okay, we're gonna wait. We got a little Mike and Mike at Night show spit off. But anyway, we appreciate you guys for all of that. But you guys will see that coming up to a Facebook page near you. We appreciate you guys that love, support, and protect that you guys give us. You guys have a good day, and we'll see you again on Saturday. Maybe we should have ran a 2-hour show today. What you think?
Seems like everybody's in, man.
Maybe one day we'll get to that, you guys. Maybe we'll do a 2-hour show one day. But we appreciate you guys for being here on our 1-hour shows, our 49-minute shows, our 35-minute shows. Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Anytime y'all chime in and watch it, we love you.
I got diamonds to make kisses, slice in both hands. Dice